Hi, my name is Joel Foreman, and I work for Slalom Consulting, and I'm going to be doing a demonstration today about using the Access Control Service in Windows Azure to authenticate users through public identity providers for a website. I'm going to be doing a demo that's very close to, let me share my screen out here before I start. I'm going to be doing a demo that's very close to one of the labs that's provided in the Windows Azure Platform Training Kit. And I'm going to make a few modifications to the lab, which I prefer a little more to illustrate a couple points. But if you want to do this yourself, I definitely encourage you to check out the lab. Once you download the Windows Azure Platform Training Kit, if you go into Labs, the one that I'll be working with is Intro to ACS Labs V2. And in here, if you come into the setup, there's a dependencies application that will help install all the necessary components. I've run that already. One of the things that helps you install is Windows Identity Foundation, which will allow you to build claims-aware web applications through referencing those assemblies. And also we'll install a couple of things that help out with certs, which will be leveraged for the Access Control Service. So go ahead and run that if you're looking to do this yourself. And I definitely encourage you to follow the lab. It's a very good lab. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Visual Studio. And I'm going to make a new website. And I'm going to do an ASP.NET website. I'm going to run it from HTTPS localhost. We'll call this my ACS website. And say OK. And that should take a second, and I'm ready to go. There's a few things that I don't need that comes in the sample, so I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need this account folder. I don't need the scripts folder. I don't need some of the things in web config that comes with the sample, such as I don't need the connection strings. I don't need any of these items. So that should get me looking pretty clean. Let me save that, and let me come over to the master page real quick. And I won't have this login display div. I won't have them in here. All right, let me run this, making sure that, and we'll modify the web config for debugging. That's fine. You see this come up. Just want to make sure that I am running and everything's looking good before I start over with the Access Control Service configuration. And we are. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out to the management portal. And this is actually in portal@fabriclabs.com. This version of the Access Control Service that this demo uses is in labs, and it's promised to come out shortly, I believe in the first half of 2011, so that should be coming up anytime soon. And I have a subscription, and once you have a subscription, you click on Access Control Service, and it takes you to this window. And again, this is all going to be integrated into the regular management portal, but for now, it's outside as this product is still in labs, or this version that we're using is still in labs. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I need to set up a few things for my new application. I'm going to come and look at identity providers. So there's some different public identity providers that are configured to work with the Access Control Service. You can see Google, Windows Live ID, Yahoo, and there's other ones out here. Facebook. I'm not going to do Facebook today because there's a little bit of configuration on a Facebook application side. Doesn't take very long at all, but you do have to set up a Facebook application to integrate with. Another thing I'll call out is right here you can see Microsoft Active Directory Federation Services 2.0. So if you're using the Access Control Service for authentication and authorization, you can add Active Directory as an identity provider as well as these public providers. And we're doing that on slalom.com. If you check that out, you can know that you can sign in with our Slalom credentials, or we can folks can sign in with these different public providers as well. We're not going to do that in this example, though. But that's where you can add different identity providers. But we have the ones that you saw here are available to us for right now. We come into relying party applications, and this is our application. I have a couple other out here that I already have, and I'm going to add a new one. And I believe I called this my ACS demo. And there's some fields we need to enter here. So my ACS, oops, sorry, let me localhost my return URL, where I'm going to come back to from once the user has been redirected to sign in. SAML11, and I think that we can accept the rest of the defaults. And you'll see that I can select what identity providers we're going to use. And it says it's going to create a new rule group for us. So that sounds great. And I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And now I see that here I have my ACS demo as a new relying party allowed to use the access control service. So once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and look at those rule groups that got created. And here's the rule group for my ACS demo. And once I go in here, I want to generate the default rules that we want. And we'll generate them for all of these public providers. And this is basically saying that this is showing me what information will we pass back from one of those identity providers in the security token that they issue for a user that signs in. So you can look at some of these that get generated as defaults. You know, from Google, we're going to get email address. From Yahoo, we're going to get email address, name. You can see there's only one that comes through by default for Windows Live ID. So we generate those default claims. That's an important step. Let's save that. Double check there. All right. So now the access control service is configured. Let's come back to Visual Studio. And once you've downloaded and installed Windows Identity Foundation, you have the new capability, which is pretty cool, about configuring a security token service reference for your application available to you right inside of Visual Studio. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this wizard. And I'm going to use an existing STS. And from this point, I'm going to come out and grab the URL for this Federation metadata XML file. And let me come back in and paste it here. And let me continue on. And I can continue through these steps. And click Finish. And it says it is successful. And let's see, it added a bunch of stuff to my web config. That is going to configure up against Access Control Service for me. So now, when I run my web application, hit F5, this comes up. I should be redirected out to sign in. And that is not what I expected. Localhost, let's go and double check our configuration and see if we know why this failed. We're going to debug right in the middle of this. So if I come out to relying parties, let's make sure that everything is named appropriately. Localhost my ACS demo. That looks right. If I come my ACS website, that's what we did. So let me come out and fix this real quick. So hit save there. That looks right. Let me come back and let me look and make sure that if I do a my ACS website, that looks right. Let me make sure it's in any other spot. I think we're okay. Let's try again. Second time's the charm. There we go. So I'm automatically redirected out to sign in from one of these public identity providers. And let me click Google. and I'm going to be taken over to Google. I should be. Any day now. This is really hurting my video demo here at the time. All right, so I must be already signed into Google on my machine because you see that that was silent, but I came back. But now you're wondering, how do you even know that you were? Well, let's add some more information to tell. So I'm going to paste in a few snippets that I have prepared. Let me go ahead and come back to the default page here. Add some fields that will just help me see a little bit more information about my user once they come back, so I know a little bit more about them. So I'm going to add a few labels there, and let me add a little bit of code. So just to dive into this real quickly, if we want to look through the claims that are being passed in that are inside of the security token available to our website for our user. And the way we do that is we can cast the current identity to a claims identity, which is provided in the Windows Identity Foundation libraries. And inside the claims identity has a collection of claims, and we're just going to loop through those and spit those out so that we can see what's going on. And I put in a few other things that we're going to use here in a minute to illustrate how this all integrates very nicely with ASP.NET. So let me run this again. And you'll see I run, and it prompts me out. It sends me out to the access control service. And you see that it remembered that I would sign in with Google. So I just opened up web providers. Let me click Google again. And it's going out to Google, and because I'm signed in to Google on my machine already, it recognizes that. It doesn't prompt me again, so that you get a little bit more of a single sign-on experience. And when it comes back, we're going to be able to see what's inside that claims collection. And again, this is a little slower because it's running on my machine, but the performance is typically a lot better in a deployed environment. So it came back, and you can see there's a few more pieces of information that's available to us. So you'll see that we're looping through those claims, and you'll see that the claims coming through, I have a name identifier, an email address claim, a name claim, and what identity provider I came from. So now I can see, yes, I easily can see who my user is. Now, let's take this a little bit farther. How can we use Access Control Service for authorization? So let me come back over. I'm going to close this down. And I'm going to come over back to ACS, and I'm going to create a custom rule. So let me come into my relying party application. Actually, we don't want to edit that. We want to come into the rule group for my relying party application. And let's make a new rule. Let's add a new rule. Let's make the rule for Google, since that's the one I've been using. Let's go ahead and select email address. Let's say the value is my email address. And that's going to be what comes back from Google through the ACS service. Then if they recognize that coming through, we're going to add another claim to the claim collection. So we're going to add the claim of role, and we'll add the value of administrator. And this is Joel's admin rule. And this is basically making me, giving me a new claim that says role is administrator. So I'm going to save that rule. And great, let me come back to my application. And I'm going to do a couple more things here. I'm going to add a new folder. We'll call this admins. How about admin? And let me add a new page here. Add new item. Web form, web default, that's fine. Get rid of this, have it inherit from the master page file. Great. Copy this, sounds good. In here, get rid of some of this stuff. Say, welcome admins. So this represents a section of the site that's restricted to administrators only. And now let me come over here and let's add a location element to our web config. We could do it via a separate web config in the admin folder, but I really don't like doing that as much. I like to have all my stuff located in the same section. So let me say that, for the location path of admin or admin folder, we are going to allow roles of administrator and deny everybody else. Typically how you'd like to do stuff in the web config for authorization. And then the last thing I'm going to do is edit one more piece of code that's in the web config. And I want to put a new section that's specific to Windows Identity Foundation. And what this does here is it's saying that I can specify a default name claim type and role claim type. And the important one here is the role claim type, and because that can tell ASP.NET what type of claim to map the notion of roles to. And that's really handy because now I can kind of use the features I'm used to using around roles in ASP.NET, such as allow roles administrator, or when I say user.isEnroll administrator, that is now going to apply to a specific claim type in the claims collection. So let me run this. And let me sign in with a different provider right now just to illustrate one of the other ones. So let me sign in with my live ID, just so you believe that it's possible. So when this returns back to my site, and again I'm experiencing some slowness, some classic demo slowness, which never goes over well with your end user, so I appreciate you bearing with me. But when this comes back, we'll see that I'm signed in with Windows Live ID this time, but I should not have any administrator rights because we did not add any custom claim for this person in this site. So now I'm back and I'm signed in, and I can see that first thing, I'm definitely not in this administrator role. Here's the claims that I have. Windows Live ID is a little different than some other providers because it really doesn't share very much about the user at all. You can see it doesn't even share a name or email address. It only shares a unique identifier, which is how you can uniquely identify users, but you don't have any information about them, and you know that they came from Live ID. So great, user is definitely not in the administrator role. And if I come in and go to the admins area, or admin, I called it? Yes, access denied. You can handle that in a friendly way, but definitely this is what we wanted to see, that this person cannot get in because they are not in the administrator role. Let me close this down, fire it back up. Let me sign back in with Google. And again, the only reason I'm not prompted out at Google is because I'm already signed into Google in a browser session, a previous browser session, so it's remembering me. I've checked remember me for Google for logging in, and that's a really nice feature because again you're achieving some single sign-on capabilities there, not always having to have your users type in their credentials every time. So when this comes back, hopefully we'll see that I have a new claim that's added by my custom rule that I created in the ACS of administrator. So I can see that here's Joel Foreman, and there is that new claim. And I am recognized, again, I am recognized in the administrator role, and I should be able to gain access to the admin area. So this is a great way to kind of keep the authentication and authorization rules now outside of your application. I have no membership tables, no membership concerns inside my app itself. I just build my app to the specific personas that I care about, administrator, user, and I can handle all of those rules outside in the access control service. Also, I gain the flexibility of being able to only use WIF and claims-aware capabilities in my application, code it that way, and I can conform to a lot of different public identity providers. So again, a really nice feature for doing auth and auth in your websites going forward. Hope you enjoyed the demo.